अवतार सारा से रमणी केवल आनंद कंद अवतार सारा से रमणी केवल आनंद कंद भज भज भाई चैतन्य निताई सुदृढ़ विश्वास तोरी भज भज भाई चैतन्य निताई सुदृढ़ विश्वास तोरी विषय छाड़िया सेरा से मजिया मुखे बोलो हरि हरि विषय छाड़िया तेरा से माजिया मुखे बोलो हरि हरि देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन नाई ए मन दयालो दादा पशु पक्षी झुरे पाषाण वेदरे सुनी जार गुण गाथा पशु पक्षी झुरे पाषाण वेदरे सुनी जार गुण गाथा सारे मजिया रोहिली परिया से पदे नहिलो आशा सारे मजिया रोहिली परिया अपन कर्म भुंजाए सामन कहो लोचन दासा अपन कर्म भुंजाए सामन परम करुणा कहूँ दुई जन निताई गौर चंद्र परम करुणा सब अवतार सारा से रमणी केवल आनंद कंद सब अवतार सारा से रमणी केवल आनंद कंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरनाम संकीर्तन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की गौर प्रमानंद हरे हरे। Dear devotees, where is the book? I'm surprised. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Dear devotees, we had a very, very, very wonderful discussion between Kolabecha Sridhar and Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit would ask Kolabecha Sridhar, you are worshipping Narayan, but you have no Lakshmi, you have no food to eat, you have no cloth to wear, you have no roof to take shelter of. What is this? And then Kolabecha Sridhar would answer philosophically, whether somebody is rich or poor, bird or animal or human being, everybody must pass their time in the same way. So it is not that I am working. Either Krishna is making me work or Maya is making me work. Time unfolds events according to the will of Krishna. We are puppet of Krishna or puppet of Maya. What we are doing. So, and then of course we saw that how Mahaprabhu said that no, you have some special treasure. One day I will reveal to the entire world the treasure that you have. And then we saw how Nimai Pandit would bargain with Kolabecha Sridhar. Kolabecha Sridhar would sell everything about banana stock, manja, banana flower, bhanda, banana itself, banana leaf cup. So all this, everything about banana he would sell, and Mahaprabhu will take everything for free. He would bargain, and finally Kolabecha Sridhar will take it free. Okay. And not only he took things from Kolabecha Sridhar free, he took from the merchant, fragrant merchant, fragrance free, counsel merchant, counsel free. He literally took from so many people. From Gwalwala he took milk and curd separately for free. And by doing that, Mahaprabhu gave pure devotional service to everyone. But Kolabecha Sridhar was special because every day Nimai Pandit would spend at least 90 minutes of his time. It is really lot. Given Nimai Pandit was so busy in study, in writing commentary, defeating all the atheists who were there, terrorizing them. So it is not easy to do that, and he was busy, because if he doesn't do that, then people will say probably, it will not look natural, so he has to work hard. Although he doesn't have to work hard, without working hard he can always defeat anyone and everyone, but he always put a lot of effort. He took a serious interest in studies, and he always debated with so many people, and he would engage his students also in debates. So Nimai Pandit had wonderful time with Kolabecha Sridhar, and then when Kolabecha Sridhar would, because he would spend 50% of his income every day in Ganga worship, then he would say, don't you know that I am the master of Ganga? You are worshipping Ganga, but I am actually master. Ganga comes from me. So Kolabecha Sridhar will get frightened. He is saying that he is offending my master. Ganga is my master, and And see, he is saying this Nimai Pandit is her master. But anyway, Kolabhaja Sudar said, don't you fear by speaking like that? And anyway, so Nimai would always have some discussion with Kolabhaja Sridhar, and he finally returned to his house. And Sri Gaurasundara sat down at the door of his Vishnu temple. His students all returned to their homes. As Nimai saw the full moon one night, his heart became absorbed in the mood of Vrindavanacandra, Krishna. Nimai then began to play a flute in a most enchanting tune. Flute is his eternal instrument, okay, which only Mother Sachi could hear. When Mother Sachi heard the sound of that flute, which attracts the three worlds, she fell unconscious in ecstasy. After a while, she regained consciousness, steadied her mind as she continued listening to the wonderful sound of the flute. Sachi then noticed that the enchanting sound of flute was coming from the direction where Nimai was sitting. Mother Sachi came outside in astonishment, saw that her son was sitting at the door of the Vishnu temple. She could no longer hear the sound of the flute, but she saw the full moon on the chest of her son. Okay. Seeing the moon on the chest of her son, Sachi was struck with wonder and began looking around. Mother Sachi then went back inside and began to think about the reason for such a vision, because this moon represents Krishna's lotus face, and Krishna resides in the heart of his devotee. In this way, the most fortunate Mother Sachi saw unlimited manifestation of opulence. One night, Sachi heard hundreds of people singing and playing musical instruments. By the sound of dancing and various wind instruments, she considered that a grand Rasa Lila festival was taking place. One day, all she could see was a brilliant spiritual effulgence permeating her house. On another day, she saw many divine women who all held lotus flowers in their hands and resembled the goddess of fortune. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha laksha britesu suravira vipalayantam Lasmi sahasra satasambrama sevya manam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. और आनंद चिन्मय रस प्रतिभा वितावितावीर एव निज रूप तया कलाभि गोलोक एव निवसति अखिलात्म भूतो गोविंदमादि पुरुषम तमहम भजामि. So Mother Sachi saw both. In one, she saw thousands of Lasmis are serving lotus feet of Gauranga or Krishna. And in another, she is seeing that the damsels, very many beautiful damsels, are having rasa dance with Krishna. On another day, she saw many divine women who all held lotus flowers in their hands and resembled the goddess of fortune. One day she saw the effulgent demigods, but when she looked again, she could not see them. It is not astonishing that Sachi had such vision, for the Vedas describe her as the personification of devotional service to Lord Vishnu. Whoever receives the merciful glance of Mother Sachi becomes eligible to see such opulences. In this way, Sri Gaurasundara, who is not different from Lord Krishna, lived in Navadvipa incognito while relishing his own ecstasy. Although the Lord manifested his opulences in various ways, his servants were still unable to recognize him. The arrogance that was sporting displayed by Nimai was unmatched throughout the Navadvipa. In fact, Nimai has to display his arrogance because there is transcendental arrogance in Krishna. In fact, transcendental arrogance to Krishna looks very beautiful. The pastimes enjoyed by Lord are supreme in all respect. Whenever the Lord desired to fight, he becomes the topmost hero, and no one can surpass his prowess with weapons. Whenever Lord desires to enjoy conjugal pastimes, he manifests millions of beautiful women. Whenever the Lord desires to enjoy opulence, he fills his servant's home with millions of ocean of wealth. In this way, the arrogant nature now manifest by the Lord immediately vanished when he accepted the path of renunciation. At that time, not even a fragment of the renunciation or devotion that he manifests could be found throughout the three worlds. Is this possible for anyone else? Normally, if you are very popular, extraordinarily famous, it would be very difficult for you to give up that. Normally, I have seen, I had a very, in my subject area, there was one professor called Professor Sinha. He was in McMaster University in Canada. You know McMaster University?
Yes.
How far from Calgary? Toronto. Okay. And he was a professor in McMaster, and he lived there. He remained professor in the McMaster until he died. Can you imagine? Until he died, he remained there. And more important, when we invited him as a chief guest while conducting a conference in Hyderabad, he was not even able to walk that time. And he was still working there. And so you see, when you have such opulence, it's very difficult to renounce. And Mahaprabhu, you see, at the age of 8 he started. And at the age of 16, only in 8 years, he gave up. He gave up. He who was feared by the best of the pandits, he who can defeat anyone and everyone, even Brihaspati would dread to have a day with him. That person, for that person, it didn't take even a moment to renounce. Why? Because this spiritual arrogance that Lord had is natural to him. So whenever he wanted, he manifested that spiritual arrogance, and whenever he wanted, he withdrew that arrogance, and he showed his side of devotion. Because in devotion, you have to renounce everything, otherwise you cannot manifest devotion to Krishna. The moment we think that we are so wonderful, only as a service we can use. Like the other day I told Radhakant Prabhu to speak calculus the way Newton derived, and I didn't know what he did. He started teaching calculus from 12th standard book. When Newton derived calculus, md square x upon dt square equal to f. When such equations were not there. Before Newton, nobody knew that something can be like this. No, now we are all, we are so habituated to it. For 300 years, people are so habituated. It looks like you are counting numbers. So that when a service is given, you have to do it properly. You have to do it. You have to go to depth. Then you will have purification. So the otherwise, we have to perform devotional service while giving up all our pride, arrogance and everything. So Mahaprabhu would renounce everything. And not only that, he would manifest, he would organize Sankirtan movement in Navadvipa for 8 years. For 8 years, from age of 16 to age of 24. And suddenly again he would take another form of renunciation. So he renounced his panditya, his wisdom. Then he renounced his own family. Navadvipa is in deluge in Sankirtan movement. There was no discrimination among people. The barriers fell apart. That is why Bengal is such a state now. You won't see caste plays a big role in Bengal. And the biggest contribution to that is coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And still, again he renounced it. And unless one is Krishna, one cannot do it. It's not simply possible. Okay. Sri Gaurasundara, who is the source of all incarnation, who performs pastime out of his sweet will, who is the reservoir of transcendental pastimes, personally fought with demons Madhu and Kaitava. In his incarnation as Haya Sirsa, the demon Hiranyaka as Varaha, the demon Hiranyakashipu as Nrsingadev, and the demon headed by Ravana in his incarnation as Ramachandra. In his conjugal pastimes as Krishna, the source of all incarnation, he engages in rasa dance with innumerable cowherd damsels. Yet in his house of his subject, he displays affluent pastimes as the Supreme Lord, full of 6 opulences. Sri Gaurasundara, who enacts such wonderfully variegated pastimes, is also most expert in displaying various arrogant and mischievous pastimes. Moreover, when Gaurasundara later manifests the pastime of accepting sannyasa order of life, then his detachment for topics not related with the Lord, his direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and his attachment for the service of the Lord will be the ideal example for those desirous of serving the Lord. Even a particle of renunciation and devotion exhibited by Gaurasundara is rarely found within the 3 worlds. Everyone knows that such an ideal attitude of service to Krishna will not be found within 3 worlds. Gaurasundara, the source of all incarnation, did not exhibit any pastimes of learning how to fight with weapons, accepting millions of girlfriends or enjoying affluence in his pastime as Gaura. Rather, such pastimes were displayed in his various other incarnations. Although he is the source of all incarnations, in this incarnation, he displays only pastimes of magnanimity. He did not exhibit any conjugal pastime in the course of his magnanimous Gaura pastimes. In order to disgrace him before the eyes of ordinary persons, those who belong to a Pasampradaya like Gaura Nagaris attribute deviation in proper behavior to the Lord's pure character, which is exemplary for everyone. But it should be known that their mentality is a source of offenses. So, dear devotees, Lord is one, absolute truth is one. Whenever he wants to enjoy, he manifests his parents, his conjugal lovers, his multiple Vishnu forms and whatnot. He is full of opulence. The activities of Lord are supreme on all respects, but it is his nature to accept defeat at the hands of his devotees. The activities of the supreme controller, Ishwarera karma, are always superior to the activities of the controlled. The former are transcendental and incomparable and therefore matchless, eternal and releasable, while the latter are mundane or worldly, incomplete, abominable and temporary. But since the characteristics of those who are controlled by love of God are even more releasable than those of the controller, their characteristics are capable of defeating those of controller. In the Padma Purana it is stated, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnod aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. In fact, Prabhupada used to quote this verse many times in his lectures, in the purports. One day Nimai along with 5 or 7 students was walking down the main road. Nimai was dressed like a king. The yellow cloth that covered his body made him look just like Krishna. His chewed battle knot, his face resembled millions of moons. People who saw him inquired, is he Cupid? His forehead was decorated with tilak. In his hands he carried some books. A glance from his lotus eyes destroyed all sins. As the restless natured Lord walked along with his students, his arms swung back and forth. Dear devotees, why do we hear about Krishna? Because by hearing about Krishna or hearing Krishna Katha collapses our false ego. We are suffering from our false ego from time immemorial. So when we see the real actor is Krishna, and he is wandering as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the streets of Navadvipa as is celebrated Nimai Pandit. So hear about him. How does he walk? How does he look like a king wearing an yellow dress, chewing the battle knot, holding some books, debating with his students, defeating every teacher that are possibly there in Navadvipa, and there are no scholar who is not defeated by Nimai Pandit. As the restless natured Lord walked along with his students, his arms swung back and forth. By providence, Srivasa Pandita was coming from the opposite direction at that time. Upon seeing the Lord, Srivasa began to laugh loudly. Nimai offered obeisances to Srivasa, who blessed Nimai by saying, live forever. Sandipani Muni as the teacher of Krishna, Garg Muni as the priest, Bhrigu Muni as the examiner, and the Gaura Lila, Brahmananda Puri as godbrother of Ishwarapuri, Srivasa Pandit as senior Brahmana, all considered Lord as a subordinate object of affection and care, and thus acted as guardians of the Lord. But it should be understood that in the mood of awe and reverence, such behavior is harmful to the principle of service. Srivasa smiled and inquired, O best of the arrogant, where are you going? Why do you uselessly waste your time by not worshipping Krishna? Why do you spend day and night simply teaching mundane knowledge? Why do people study? Education is only for understanding devotional service of Lord Krishna. Therefore, do not uselessly waste your time any longer. You have studied enough. Now you should worship Krishna. Nimai smiled and said, listen, Pandita, that will certainly be done by your mercy. But you see how Srivas could speak like this to Mahaprabhu. It's amazing. Only if you have pure love for Krishna, only you can speak like this, Baba. It is, nobody can speak like this. You cannot go to the best of the professors and tell him you are a full idiot. You are wasting your time. Can't say that. After speaking in this way, Mahaprabhu smiled and departed for the banks of Ganges, where he met his students. Sri Sachinandan then sat on the bank of Ganges with his students surrounding him on all sides. Lord is never alone. He is always surrounded by his associates. He is always the king. Just see the Krishna surrounded by his friends as they are enjoying in the picnic. Or Krishna is surrounded by gopis when they are dancing. Krishna is never alone. I could not describe the beauty of that scene. Even if I had millions of mouths, there is no comparison in the three worlds. I cannot compare that scene with the moon surrounded by the stars, because the moon has spots and it also waxes and wanes. अरे आज तो हम नहीं देख रहे थे मून, कल देख रहे थे, आज बादल है. This Lord, however, is eternally complete and spotless. Therefore, a comparison of the moon is unjustified. I remember I was in 6th standard. In my village, they have prepared Abhimanyu Baddha. You understand Abhimanyu Baddha? The killing of Abhimanyu. Right? So the drama starts. You see, 6th standard I have seen. Drama starts. Abhimanyu and Uttara are sitting on a jhula. And there is a beautiful moon. This is amazing. How could they do it? Even now also I am wondering how that happened actually. So the scene starts with the love story of Abhimanyu and Uttara. And the scene is so beautiful. Abhimanyu was looking so beautiful. And those days, you see, even the ladies, some gent would act as a lady. It's not like today, the Bollywood giri. It's all nonsense, pollution. And it was so amazing. 6th standard, I am still, the freshness of that scene is still in my memory. And I might have seen so many Bollywood movies, nothing I remember, nothing. They don't make any impression on me. Okay? Maybe the Krishna Sudama movie that I saw for the first time, and because when I became devotee, then that is what I remembered, because I personally digged up. And I still, and in a Krishna Sudama movie of Odia movie, all the songs were hit, all devotional songs, beautiful songs. I think that this country should change. It was a beautiful country, Krishna-centered country. All dance form, all art forms, all dramas were centered around Krishna. So because of this moon, I remember this moon. They have created a moon and it's amazing. The half moon they had created, and Abhimanyu and Uttara in the jhula, and they are looking towards the moon. And I cannot compare Nimai with even Brihaspati, because Brihaspati is partial to the demigods. This Lord, however, is partial to everyone. Therefore, a comparison with Brihaspati is also unjustified. Nor can I compare Nimai with Cupid, because if Cupid appears in one's heart, that heart becomes agitated. When this Lord appears in one's heart, however, all one's material bondage is destroyed. His heart becomes pure and happy. If you can place Nimai within your heart, how will you place Nimai within your heart? Hear about him, dear devotees. Hear Caitanya Bhagavata. Drink the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Caitanya Bhagavata, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangal. Drink. Then, by that process, you will place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within your heart. When you place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within your heart, then all your dirt will be finished, completely finished. Therefore, all these comparisons are improper, but there is one comparison that I can think of. Just the son of Nanda enjoyed his pastime sitting amongst the cowherd boys on the bank of Yamuna. The same Krishna in the form of Brahmana now enjoying the pastime sitting with those same cowherd boys on the bank of Ganges. You just see, just before some time I was telling, Krishna is never alone. Just like Mahaprabhu is sitting surrounded by his students. Similarly, I told that Krishna was sitting along with his friends in a picnic, or Krishna is surrounded by gopis. So this comparison is there. Whoever saw the Lord's face as he sat on the bank of Ganges attained indescribable happiness. Seeing the Lord's extraordinary... See, Lord doesn't have to preach. Mahaprabhu, he is absolute truth. The way he would manifest his beauty, that would attract everybody's mind. Everything about him is so auspicious. His very presence is liberating to the entire world. He is the crest jewel of everything that is existing. He is the summum bonum of all existence. If he stops, everybody's breath would stop. If he smiles, everybody would have beautiful smile in them. When he enters into your heart, you would be filled with joy. And that is Mahaprabhu. Seeing the Lord's extraordinary effulgence, everyone on the bank of Ganges began to whisper to one another. Someone said, an ordinary human does not have such effulgence. Someone else said, this Brahmana is a portion of Lord Vishnu. Another said, I think he will fulfill the prediction that a Brahmana will become the king of Gauda, for he has all the symptoms of a king. In this way, everyone spoke according to their understanding. In fact, in Bengal now also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very popular. Bengal is fallen because of their food habits and bad philosophical pollution. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very famous. So when Modi goes to Bengal, of course he invokes Vivekananda, but he also invokes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A politician would not invoke Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unless Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so dear to Bengali hearts. So if a Prime Minister goes and, during 2019 election campaign once, I saw that he was glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I realized that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be so dear to so many Bengalis. I think he will fulfill the prediction that a Brahmana will become the king of Gauda, for he has all the symptoms of a king. In this way, everyone spoke according to their understanding. Meanwhile, in fact, because this Bengal, the Gauda king is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When 2000, I went to R.S. Rourkela from Bhaktivedanta Institute, Mumbai, to have some preaching session there. So there are 2-3 Bengalis one of them in a girl, a lady student, and they all came and happily they said, "Sir, we know Jayapataka Maharaj." So the idea is, that means there are still, in Bengali there are many atheists, tantrics and this and that, still Bengal is full of devotees. We must know this. Meanwhile, the Lord pointed out faults in other teachers as he engaged in explaining the scriptures on the bank of Ganges. Nimai established correct statements as incorrect and incorrect statement as correct. Then after refuting all other explanations, he again established the proper meaning with new explanations. Lord said, I consider a person learned if he is able to discuss with me. Who has the power to refute me by establishing a different explanation? Even those who brag about themselves, the best of the pandits would not say like this. Only Lord can speak like this, because this is his natural arrogance, because he is a transcendental person all the way. Lord's debating is not a mundane activity like Srivas Thakur said. I don't know why Srivas Thakur said. Probably Srivas Thakur wanted someone to preach Krishna consciousness. But Lord debating, whatever Lord does is all absolute, all pure. There is no mundanity in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's any Lila, my dear friends. So don't take Srivas Thakur's chastisement of Nimai in your own interpretation. Then you will go to hell for sure. Mahaprabhu's debate is fully transcendental. As the Lord, Supreme Lord, exhibited his pride in this way, he smashed the pride of all others. I would like, Mahaprabhu smashes my pride like that. That's what I was telling, when Mahaprabhu does such leelas like this, our pride is finished. We are finished. Lord had innumerable students who studied in groups under his direction. Every day, 10 or 20 Brahmana boys came to offer obeisances to the Lord. They would say, "Oh Pandita, we wish to study with you. Please be merciful so that we may learn something." Lord smiled and said, "Good, good." Thus the number of his students increased day by day. Lord of Vaikuntha would sit amidst the circle of his students on the bank of Ganges. As Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, moon is surrounded by the stars. So Lord is the moon and his students are stars. Fortunate people watched from all sides, and by the influence of the Lord, the entire city of Navadvipa became free from lamentation. Who can calculate the good fortune of the pious souls who saw those pastimes? Just by seeing the pious soul who has seen those pastimes, one is freed from material bondage. My dear friends, all those who is hearing these pastimes, you are actually seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly, not indirectly. My sinful birth did not take place at that time. Therefore, I was cheated from seeing those pastimes. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is lamenting. He is lamenting very much that he didn't have the opportunity to see the Lord's Lila directly. The author, who is the incarnation of Sri Vyasa, the spiritual master of the entire world, and a Vaishnava Acharya, is teaching the example of humility by lamenting in the following way: Alas, such an unfortunate birth as mine did not take place during the transcendental pastimes of Sri Gaurasundara. So I was not fortunate enough to see those ecstatic pastimes. Materialistic persons take birth in order to enjoy the fruits of their respective past misdeeds. But if such birth take place during the manifest pastimes of Lord, they become glorious by seeing those pastimes, even though they have taken abominable birth. Still, O Gaurasundara, please be merciful to me so that I may remember those pastimes, birth after birth. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur always advised, particularly his Grihastha devotees to memorize these Bengali poems. Tathapi hai kripa kara gaura chandra se lila smruti mora hau ka janma janma. So, Mahaprabhu wanted his Bengali Grihastha disciples to memorize this Caitanya Bhagavata completely. The reason is that if you memorize this one, so then you are always in Gaur Lila. So there is no way Maya can trap you. You will directly go to Navadvipa. Wherever you and Nityananda perform pastimes with your associates, may I be present there as a servant. Sri Krishna Caitanya Nitya Nanda Chanda Jana Vrindavanacandra Tachu Pada Juge Gana. I met one Professor Abhishek Bose from Kolkata University. He is in linguistic department. He has memorized the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. He will just speak fluent. Actually, I was supposed to bring him here, but COVID started. We were in discussion and I told him that you come here IIT Kanpur, stay for a week, every day morning and evening you read Chaitanya Charitamrita. He doesn't have to read the book. Yeah, he has memorized the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. अरे बाबा, ये मत सोचे कि बंगाल में सब पूरा पखंडी हैं. नहीं, बंगाल में अभिषेक बोस भी है. We have to know this. Thus ends this English translation of Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, Adi Khanda, chapter 12, entitled The Lord's Wandering Throughout the Navadvipa. I think until now the best chapter we read. So beautiful chapter. So beautiful chapter. If I were to read again and again any chapter, this will be the chapter. So sweet chapter. Dear devotees, Radhastami is coming. Today before the class, I was learning a recipe how to make arbi sabji. My wife makes a specific arbi sabji, but I wanted to learn something special. So today I learned Vrindavan style arbi sabji how to make, but I have not made. So I can tell some of you, those who want to cook, Mahaprabhu's arbi sabji, Radharani's favorite arbi sabji. You have to take arbi, peel it properly. Arbi should look spotless white, and then cut the arbis like chips and make it fry in pure ghee, and then make a paste of adrak and hari mirch also, and then take some ghee and put some ajwain seed in that, and then add this paste. Then you can add little kali mirch, black pepper and salt. You cannot, because this is a broth thing, so you cannot add hing, nor you can add haldi. And then once you cook it properly, then add the dahi. Dahi should be added by making little liquid, adding little water, and then when it boils, then you add the fried arbi and just mix it and put the flame in medium to high such that the water evaporates, and what is left is almost dried yogurt arbi. So this you can offer to Srimati Radharani on that day. Today is 23rd, 24th, 25th, only 2 days left, and 26th is Radhastami. So you should plan in many ways how to celebrate Radhastami. The best way to celebrate Radhastami, in my opinion, is to submerge yourself in Gaur Lila. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is having the mood of Radharani. We are not qualified enough to understand Radharani, qua Radharani. So the best way to celebrate Radharani and her glorious pastime is to celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glorious pastimes of devotional service. Actually, they are non-different. And so this is all I want to share, and I will see you tomorrow. If there are some questions I can take. Already 29:30. This our Madhusudan Mukund would curse me, because he would say you are delaying the whole class, and then I am not able to sleep, and I am sleeping in the class now. Sudhir Jalali Modi is saying, previously we heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mood is different from that of Krishna, which never mix the mood in the worship. These pastimes that Mother Sachi saw are little contradictory. No, what is that contradictory? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't exhibit that he is enjoying with girlfriends. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifesting Rasa Lila. He can manifest. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his his pastimes of with what are the other pastime he manifested? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He can manifest any pastime, but he manifested Braj pastime. It is not that he was doing. Yes, when he played flute as Krishna, not as Gauranga. You won't see as Gauranga he was playing flute. Okay. Arbi comes out very well with besan. You can't use besan. Dear friend, Radhastami, what are you doing? I am talking Radhastami. You can't use besan, my dear friend. Abhishek Panchal. Sir, does bull consciousness is different from cow consciousness? I don't understand. What is this? If yes, why we don't consider male and female consciousness in human different? Chiranjit Prabhu asked this question in evening class to Vipul Prabhu. Kindly clarify, kindly explain whether fear of losing comes first or attachment. This question also came in the evening class. Bull consciousness, my point, the bull is dharma. You take care of the cow as well as dharma. So you must take care of the bull. Otherwise dharma will be killed. By sending bulls to the slaughterhouses, people thought they will enjoy the cows, right? Enjoy milk. It's not happening. Only when cows and bulls are simultaneously protected, then you can have good opulence from cow protection. So it is like the same thing. By trying to enjoy Lakshmi without Narayana or Sita without Rama, this is Ravana mentality. This is Ravana mentality. And fear of losing comes first or attachment? I don't understand. Explain whether fear of losing comes first. Oh, no, you have attachment. That is why you have fear of losing. If you don't have attachment, then there will be no fear of losing. So attachment is of course first. Tarun Reddy, You mentioned hearing about Krishna collapses our false ego. Could you elaborate it, sir? Yes. Always meditate on Krishna killing the demons, and you always imagine you are one of those demons. Then your false ego will be vanquished every day. Every day Krishna kills one demon. So every day, if you hear, before you go to bed, you remember, you read or meditate on one demon killed by Krishna, and you always put yourself in the shoe of that demon. Then your false ego will be surely eradicated. Radhakant Das in Vrindavan temple, they have normal prasadam on Radhastami, fasting till noon, and then normal feast. We are also not able to engage bulls in Vrindavanacandra campus. We are still using tractors. Yeah, these are not good. They are not good for those who are practicing Krishna consciousness. So Radhakant is saying, why you are telling breath, we will eat that day. We will eat that day. Okay, normal ले सकते हैं. And my wife was fighting today because I was telling breath, and she was telling no, every Radhastami, no, this Radhastami I will not allow. Grain prasadam. We'll only have Ekadashi prasadam. Okay. Arey, Radhastami, breath means what? So, after 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, we can't, because by the time cooking gets over, it's 1 o'clock. So, at 1 o'clock, this Radhastami, you are only going to get breath prasadam. Okay? We'll have a special Malpua and special Arbi this time. Okay? Hare Krishna. How many of you have, let me see, Binay Gupta, 26% goodness, 35% passion, 39% ignorance. Suvendu Samant, 42% goodness, 32% passion, 26% ignorance. Sachidananda Vigraha Das, 56% goodness, 25% passion, 19% ignorance. Dr. Bharati, 54% goodness, 26% passion, 20% ignorance. Abhishek Panchal, 40, 34, 26. Swati, 52, 26, 22. Sandeep Gupta, 41, 30, 29. Ravi Prakash, 50. I can't believe this. 50, 36, 14. Tanisk, 51, 28, 21. They say, in our school, Gurukul, we should do this. And based on this score, we can always tell students what is their preference. In fact, I can further tailor-made is for students. Maybe I will sit with some psychologist and revise this questionnaire anyway. Anwal Avasi, 35, 30. Arusi, who is Arusi? 53, 28, 19. Sunil Datta, so many people have filled in. 42, 33, 25. Manish Yadav, Bare Baba, Manish, you have to improve. 35, 36, 29. Anusri, 44, 26, 30. Archit Gupta, 40, 33, 27. Rahul Negi, 42, 30, 28. Akshay Kumar Nayak, 41, 32, 27. Abhishek Jaiswal, 34, 34, 32. Jilalimudi, 48, 28, 24. Hey, Jilalimudi, you have done some mistake. I can't believe this. Tarun Reddy, 47, 32, 21. Pranjul Yadav, 46, 31, 23. Madhusudan, 56, 25, 19. I would like more people to take this. But more important, it is not what your score is now. what is, from time to time we will give this, and then what is your change in score? Are you improving or not? That is more important. Suppose you are in some level, so if you are practicing Krishna consciousness properly, then your goodness score should improve. Okay? So dear devotees, please fill in. Those who have not filled in, you see, our computer is having some miracle. You are only filling the questionnaire, but our computer is telling you what is your percentage of goodness, percentage of passion, and percentage of ignorance. Okay? So you just fill in, our computer will do the rest. Okay? So this is okay. I think we should stop here. I thank everybody. Tomorrow onwards, we should. Anyway, we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata. So this is the best preparation for understanding devotional service. But I don't know whether we will be able to reach. Maybe I don't know whether we should shift to Mahaprabhu's pastimes of Sankirtan movement, because that would be better celebration. But I would let me meditate and then I will tell you, because today we finished chapter 12, chapter 13 defeating Digvijay, chapter 14 the Lord's travel to East Bengal and disappearance of Lakshmi Priya, 15 marriage with Vishnu Priya, 16 glories of Sri Haridas Thakur, Lord's travel to Gaya. So maybe because on the occasion of Radharani's appearance, we will read Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. That is fitting way to understand Radharani better. Maybe we will do that. Let me see. Hare Krishna. Again, thank you very much, dear devotees.